What's up, Daisy? Shit, we're just gonna do a quick live. What's up, Ruby, Catherine, George, Rhonda, Ryan, Facebook and YouTube peoples? What's up, Sophia, Laura? Yeah, like I said, we're just going to do a quick little live because I'm going to do an actual live tonight. But I did see this and I wanted to say something on this. Actually, we might as well just start this because I do got other stuff to do before this live tonight. Anybody that doesn't miss any beginning stuff, you can come in when you watch it later, whatever. Not super important. But, man, this goes back to David Jose, the famous David Jose. David Jose has been someone we followed for a while with Francesca Amato, Kirk Pendergrass, Chris Howlett, then Field McConnell, Sarah Dunklin, just this whole huge line of basically sovereign citizen scam artists. And that's actually later tonight. I've been working on a really long article on the sovereign citizen movement. That article is going to be accompanied with this live stream that I do, because we've been talking about these people, but I always get people asking what exactly the sovereign citizens are. And obviously that plays a pretty big role with all these different people we've been following. So I just wanted to put something together, because I even learned stuff from putting together this sovereign citizen article. It's a super dangerous group. It is. They're nuts. They're screwing people's cases up legally. And now we've got all this weird shit going on with Field McConnell and Timothy Homeseth and Sarah Dunklin, all that stuff. But another thing that I've been kind of pushing towards is calling out some of these people that have huge audiences and giving these people a platform to speak. Like you got Sarah Westall, doesn't fact check anything. She just lets people come on and rant all their bullshit, and she has like 100,000 plus subscribers at this point on YouTube, like as we speak. So giving these people these platforms and exposing them to that many people, not doing any sort of due diligence to fact check anything they're saying, is super fucking dangerous. Our YouTube channel is still a baby channel. It's like 400 subscribers. On Facebook, these are still baby pages. I think I have around 4,000 followers on my page and the Discuss page. Obviously, whenever the Facebook battles against independent media pages and whatnot, we lost the Daily Haze page, which was around 60,000 followers. But that happened last year. And that just is what it is. But a lot of these bigger channels, a lot of these bigger pages and whatnot, it almost seems like they've grasped onto some of these conspiracies and whatnot just for an audience, just to get their views, just to get their subscribers. And it's horseshit all around. And I did see this interview and it kind of ticked me off. So basically what happened here and what I saw going on today was the YouTube channel Victurus Libertas. They got called out on an interview that they did with David Jose. They brought David Jose on and let him say all his crazy shit. And then Divine Interlooper, another YouTube channel that actually I think I've used as reference before. Either way, I don't know Divine Interlooper. I don't talk to Divine Interlooper, so this isn't like I was asked to do this or anything. I just saw this and thought it was kind of shitty. In regards to like the David Jose thing and everything, Divine Interlooper left this really long comment, and this page that has over 30,000 subscribers decided to delete that comment, and then they didn't exactly defend their arguments of bringing David Jose on. They more kind of dodged the question and just kind of deflected. So let's just play this, and this is a short video. It's like 20 minutes, so I think this live is going to be pretty short, and then tonight we're going to do like an actual long one on sovereigns.
So I usually don't do this, but we don't read a comment on one of our videos, a video about Melody Bannister, a woman that's accused of abducting her 4 children, fleeing the law for 8 months, going underground to protect them from what the children told the mother was sexual abuse by some family members. She tried to go, Melody did, she tried to go the legal route, and the legal system basically said we don't believe the children, so Melody took the children.
Oh, here. My bad, guys.
Protect her children. And that basically that's her crime. She's in jail right now, and we're working with her, a forensic psychiatrist, and also her attorney. But I want that's accused of abducting her 4 children, fleeing the law for 8 months, going underground to protect them from what the children told the mother was sexual abuse by some family members. She tried to go, Melody did, she tried to go the legal route, and the legal system basically said we don't believe the children, so Melody took the children and fled to save and protect her children. And that basically that's her crime. She's in jail right now, and we're working with her, a forensic psychiatrist.
Just an FYI, I don't know like anything about this case that they're talking about. I'm not weighing in on any of that shit. I don't know anything about it.
And also her attorney. But I want to outline this comment because it has some disparaging things said here about us, some accusations, and I don't like it. When there's some falsehoods told about us, I confront them. So, here we go. I guess she was replying to a favorable comment about us and our channel. And so she came back and says, she replies and says, they are also a lot like Sarah Westall and share a lot of false information. This one may be true, meaning the video that she's commenting on may be true, but I know they have fake ones too. They are supporting sovereign citizens and anti-Americans as well. Well, I'm going to stop right there. We are not supporting sovereign citizens or sovereign citizen movement or anti-Americans. That's a falsehood. I mean, please define support when you say.
I would say giving a sovereign citizen access to your page and access to your 30,000 subscribers is probably giving support. Let me see if I can pull this out just a little bit for you guys. This is one of 2 videos that David Jose appeared on there on the Victurus Libertas channel. September 20th, 2018. Epic family law and biblical research expert David Jose. And then there's also part 2, which is Epic David Jose interview, a must watch. Now, as far as supporting sovereign citizens, this is David Jose signing away his American citizenship to, what was it, the Reigns of Heaven group. David Jose is a sovereign citizen, and he's 100% practicing sovereign legal advice and also giving sovereign legal advice to families that are in CPS custody for love donations. But yeah, so that would be considering supporting David Jose, because once you have 30,000 subscribers, it might be a good thing to go ahead and do a little bit of checking and seeing who you're allowing to broadcast their message to the world. Not to mention, if you go through David Jose's YouTube channel, there's just years upon years of scam after scam after scam, get rich quick, sell real estate without a license, all this other shit, colloidal silver. This is not something that like he's hiding. It's pretty easy to check and see who David Jose is.
We are supporting sovereign citizens and anti-Americans, like David Jose. Okay, David Jose. Yes, we've had David Jose on our show. We've interviewed him. He said some things that are interesting, that made sense. And said,
this is David Jose's own legal document that he turned into court. And these guys just said that he said some stuff that was interesting, and he makes a lot of sense. He called government officials wrongdoers. I can barely even read some of what he wrote on this. I am a man, or I am man, not even a man. I am man. Prosecute. I mean, this is the guy that was interesting and, had a lot of facts. He's taken down the government. The guy can barely write a sentence or write above a 4-year-old, but whatever. Not to mention, as far as the anti-American and everything, I actually did include this article in the description because these guys are pushing anti-American shit, and they are all tied into the same ring. And again, this is pretty easy stuff to find. One of the biggest things that they've been doing is pushing a thing from Phil Hudak. The Hudak family is a crazy family of sovereign citizens with a long history of filing frivolous, nonsensical bullshit that went nowhere. And currently they're trying to do this opt-out thing, which I did see Fran was just talking about that again the other day, Francesca Amato, who is David Jose's partner in crime on all this shit. They've been pushing this opt-in, opt-out thing. Like, you can just decide that the laws no longer apply to you. What they're actually doing is from Bradley Stark. Bradley Stark was convicted of some pretty serious crimes and he's in jail for a pretty long time. And not fun jail, like federal, you're super fucked prison. What they're trying to do, though, is after Bradley was convicted, he decided that he was just going to basically become sovereign and say that the laws no longer applied to him. That obviously didn't work. Bradley's still in jail. And so they keep on taking this Bradley Stark sovereign immunity request that's been denied multiple times. And this is the basis of their opt-in thing. This is what Fran and David are trying to get you to sign up for, is this failed sovereign document to try and get them out of following the laws. And I believe this one is actually an appeal that was denied. But either way, I mean, obviously it was denied. The government isn't just going to be like, oh, Bradley Stark's a sovereign. Of course, we'll let him out of jail. Why not? It doesn't work like that. But so yeah, they are pushing these weird things. Also, Fran's on this weird kick with arrest and abolish. They're both pushing remonstrances. And also on that link that's in the description, I did want to touch on this because I've never really talked about this. David Jose for a long time has told his followers, David and Fran both, they say that anybody that speaks out against them are trolls. And they're hired opposition. I've been hired by everyone from the from CPS to the government to you name it. I'm hired, whatever. That's not true. Another big one has been, though, that through my website, Discuss, I'm stealing all these people's information. And there's two things that I did want to do real quick because, again, I've just never addressed this. What you're seeing right there is the Google Analytics for Discuss. and it's real. It's just real time. I have analytics pulled up right there. And I just wanted to show, over the months, there's been almost 700,000 users on the site. That means people have gone to my website. I don't know what kind of money or infrastructure David Jose thinks that I have, but I'm not storing almost 700,000 people's information, because David Jose's whole claim was that my site steals people's information, blah, blah, blah. Not happening. Literally not happening. And then just to go ahead and play it safe, this is Trend Micro. This is a site tester. This shows you if the site that you're going to is putting you at risk at all. If it's not HTTPS, it's actually just HTTP, which means some of your information can be stolen through, like the site that David often uses, the Online Sales Pro, which actually does use HTTP instead of HTTPS. That's something you can check out on your own, though. We won't go super into that, but we will go ahead and just check my site right now on live. You can go to this site yourself, Trend Micro, look at that, it's safe. So the reason why David Jose is telling you not to click on these links, he's telling you just block these people, don't listen to them, is 100% because he doesn't want people seeing that he's completely full of shit. But moving right along.
Who is connected to another really big fraud, Francesca Amato Banfield. I have no idea what that is. I've never even heard of it before. So I don't know what that is. I can't even speak to whether that's fraud, not fraud, what it is. So
okay, obviously Francesca Amato Banfield is a person, and if these guys would have done even 10 minutes of research on David Jose, even back when this came out, which actually, yeah, I mean, at this point, it's February 22nd, 2020. It would take literally 2 minutes to Google something to find out who Francesca Amato Banfield is and her connection to David Jose and the sort of sovereign practices that they're pushing on desperate families. And not to mention, Fran at this point actually charges a $50 consultation fee for her bullshit. David Jose, for the most part, is still at love donations, but Fran actually is at the point where she charges you money. You're not even going to get to hear her bullshit unless you give her $50. So it's...
There's a whole big group of criminals doing this, and some of them are going to prison as we speak. Again, I don't even know what that means. Doing what? Yes, this SRA stuff...
What she's talking about with doing is ripping off people through sovereign practices, and the people she's talking about, I believe, would be Field McConnell, who was just extradited over to Broward County, Florida, where he faces his charges for criminal threats, a few other things. The Field McConnell, though, is tied up with Timothy Homeseth, and then that goes back to David Straight. That goes back to their claims of having a Pentagon pedophile task force and talking directly to the president. A whole bunch of crazy nonsense. Sarah Dunklin and Cynthia Absig, all of this stuff is pretty readily available out there. So again, this is something that they very easily could have looked up and seen what they're talking about.
Does happen, but not in an astronomical amounts that they claim. How does she know that? How does she know how far-reaching SRA is? I mean, how did she make that claim, and where does she get her numbers? I've worked with survivors myself and worked on the Johnny Gosch case in Des Moines. But there are also a lot of sociopaths who read the stories and mimic them. There are great law enforcement people in this country, and some are comprised or dirty. I've seen both. This is probably why they got their channel shut down, because of some of the sovereign stuff they had in here, guilty by association. Well, we still have David Jose's stuff up on this channel, and this channel has not been shut down.
Which is true. Let's even hear quick.
that now that Trump is talking about fake news, people are okay with talking about it now, but we were saying that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right? So you know what that tells me? Everything the news calls us conspiracy theorists over is actually true.
Yeah.
And they've been hiding it. And now Trump, because he's the president and he says it, now the world is accepting it. Now our family members and friends who are not on the same page as us.
Everything that has been called a conspiracy is true because Trump started using the term fake news to dismiss negative attention about himself. Do you know how dangerous of a statement that is? And these two are sitting here smiling and agreeing to their 30,000 subscribers. Luckily, David Jose, like both those videos, that one only got 1,700 views. The other one got 3,100 views. So luckily, it's not like they're doing... He didn't get that far, at least, which is a good thing. But just agreeing with that statement that every conspiracy theory is now real, that is such a dangerous... Some of the conspiracies out there believe that red shoes are made out of baby skin. Like, there is some wild shit out there. I don't know if these guys just don't ever hang out in the conspiracy areas or see some of the stuff that's going on over there, but there is some wild shit over there. And these motherfuckers with David Jose are straight up saying, I mean, they're giving almost a green light to go ahead and follow all this nonsense. But whatever.
As a matter of fact, if you want to hear the three stories why we got, or the three videos why we got shut down, I will leave the link, the BitChute link, to why they say, YouTube says, that we got shut down. Then it goes on to say they are connected to Field McConnell and Timothy Homseth, Russell Gould, and Robert Horton, etc., I guess. Well, I don't even know who Russell Gould or Robert Horton are. I don't remember interviewing them. I don't remember being interviewed by them. I don't remember them being with Timothy Homseth or Field McConnell when we interviewed either one of them. Yes, we have interviewed Field McConnell and we have interviewed Timothy Homseth. Both of them were very interesting interviews.
I like how he keeps on using the word interesting. Field McConnell, I haven't looked at a lot of his past stuff over the years. I've been told that at one point he was actually doing some pretty good stuff. I personally would find that hard to believe with how psychopathic he is, but supposedly he just had like a mental break sometime last year and started getting into this really crazy sovereign, all this other shit. Now, of course, he's in jail after making threats on the Florida attorney, Kim Picazio, on behalf of Timothy Homseth. And Timothy Homseth is actually on the run right now from the law because of the same thing, for making threats and I believe violating his court order over 3,000 times against Kim Picazio. Now, Timothy Homseth, he's also the ones that claims that he talks to President Trump and all this shit. Timothy Homseth has been harassing this attorney, Kim Picazio, for 10 years at least. A long fucking time. I actually have his book on it in my room right now. I still haven't read it yet, but I've been meaning to. But so, like I said, maybe Field did good work like 2-3 years ago. I can't really speak on that just because I don't know. I haven't watched enough. But again, what he's doing now definitely does not suggest that he was ever in a sound place of mind and was actually doing really good, credible work, just because the guy fucking lies to people and says that he is talking directly with the president and he's helped with all these arrests being made of pedophiles, same as David Straight, who claims that he's helped over 3,000 pedophiles get arrested through this imaginary task force. But again, at that point, Timothy Homeseth, like everything he says, if you try and fact check Timothy Homeseth, the only thing that comes up is other stuff from Timothy Homeseth. So again, this leads to this problem of these YouTube channels and shit that have grown these very large followings, and they don't care who they let on. Timothy Homeseth and Field McConnell, and granted, I would let any of them on alive with me, but that's mainly because I want to question them. If you are going to let these people on, probably research the message that they're pushing out, and then actually ask them questions instead of just smiling and nodding and giving them some sort of acceptance and almost pushing their message. I mean, you are pushing their message for them. So just the history of Timothy Homeseth to David Jose it's not a good look. It's definitely not a good look.
They had interesting information. Field McConnell, we have not been in touch with Field McConnell for years. We've had some contact via Twitter. I've sent him some emails maybe a couple of years ago to try to help us out on some cases that we were working on. Timothy Homeseth, I don't know where he is. We haven't worked with him for at least a couple of years. So when you say we are connected with them, yes, we have interviewed them. And I found Timothy Homeseth had some amazing, unbelievable recordings. I mean, he was recording people, and he's got the recordings.
I don't see Timothy Homeseth ever being responsible for anything amazing. This guy, Timothy Homeseth, is fucking crazy. At some point, we're going to devote a whole live to Timothy, just because it's going to take a whole live to understand Timothy. But in all honesty, I haven't really wanted to sit down and dedicate that much of my time to learning about Timothy because it gives me a headache. Like trying this, and that's another reason why this Sovereign article is taking so long. I actually took a break to do other stuff. This thing's at like 7,000 words, which normally I try and keep my articles around 1,200 words. And the reason for that is to include the needed information right there. A lot of readers you'll lose after like 1,200 to 1,500 words. So I normally try and get things pretty condensed into that. But with this Sovereign thing, I just wanted one place that had a whole lot of information about the Sovereign movement. And that's what this article is, and that's why it's at like 7,000 words right now. But one of the things, like as I'm going through this Sovereign article and just the different groups and the more violent ones, the ones that were doing financial fraud, all of these different ones, as you go through it, you can just sit there in your head. And if you've been following this whole group, it's like, oh, well, that's what Kirk Pendergrass does. Oh, well, that's what Francesca Amato's saying. That's what David Jose's saying. It's so weird doing this in-depth Sovereign like coverage, and just as you go through it, you can actually watch in real time as these people are practicing it. It's and you can make the direct comparisons. It's mind-blowing.
So I don't know. Yeah, are we connected to them in the sense of have we interviewed them before? Yes. Do we work with them? Or are we working in tandem with them on projects? Absolutely not. It says, I tried to... so it says, sometimes people get shut down because they are troublemakers. I tried to talk to Angie a year ago or so about Cheryl Hersha, who is either fake SRA survivor or who has been deprogrammed and possibly a sociopath. Just like her friend Timothy Homeseth. When you start calling people sociopaths without really knowing them, is a little disconcerting. All these people are now being connected, and some are going to prison. I've been working my head off the last few days concerning Field McConnell and that mess. He just got extradited to Florida, and he now realizes that there was no such thing as a Pentagon pedophile task force. I don't even know anything about that Pentagon pedophile task force. And he threw Timothy Homeseth under the bus. I don't know anything about that. He needs to go next. I don't know anything about that, folks. All right, so why?
Again, Google search. Like, that's all that takes. If you're going to address something like this, at least look it up first. Like, for fuck's sake.
She's bringing this up here on this video and undermining the importance of this video, by the way. And then it says, Angie would not listen to me when I tried to warn her about Cheryl or Field McConnell, Agent Beck, Sarah Duncan. I don't know who Sarah Duncan is. I don't know what Agent Beck is. Who is on the board of the non-existent Children's Crusade. I don't know what that is. Timothy Charles Holmseth.
The Children's Crusade and Sarah Dunklin. Sarah Dunklin was basically a handler for Field McConnell, it turns out. She handled a lot of like the interviews. When it came to Cynthia Absig going on the run after there was a warrant for her arrest for plotting. I mean, she was, the actual charge is conspiracy to commit kidnapping. Her and Sarah Dunklin's boyfriend, Ryan Wilson, Field McConnell, all of them came up with this plan to kidnap her son from foster care. Field McConnell referred to her child as Sphincter Boy because she claimed that he was being sexually assaulted by the foster family. So it kind of shows Field McConnell's overall personality there. The Children's Crusade, though, that's what they claimed they were getting all these kids home from. It was their fraudulent organization. That's where they would take their donations and everything, because again, all these groups and even all the sovereign groups, which we'll get into later tonight, there's always the money scam. You don't get their help unless you give them money. I always bring this up because they try and fire back that I have a donation link in my description. I always have a donation link there. I've done crowdfunding for the 6 years that I've done this. I will probably always keep doing that, just like every other live streamer online, every gamer, every other independent media outlet. I mean, the Gawker, the Guardian, huge independent outlets still have crowdfunding right there on their websites. So the difference is what I'm doing, you can still access for free without a donation. Regardless of anybody watching right now or that's going to watch in the future, regardless of if you donate or not, you can still watch this. You can still access my website. You can access everything that I do without giving $1. There's no charge for it. The support is, of course, appreciated, and it goes right back into all this stuff, but it's a completely different thing. I know Fran and David have both tried to use those arguments tons of times, but and another huge difference is I'm not giving you false legal advice. I'm not giving you any legal advice. Many people have messaged me asking for legal advice. It doesn't happen. My legal advice to anyone with any situation is to contact an attorney. That's what you need to do. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to give you legal advice. I'm not going to risk that lawsuit or anything of you saying that I gave you this misinformation legal advice. Not happening. So that's how I've operated for years. Whereas Fran and David, not only, especially Fran, not only are you getting legal advice, but you have to pay for it. David Straight, the same way. He does crowdfunding and takes money to fly around the country to do these incredibly long and ridiculous public little meeting things where he just diarrheas his incoherent nonsense and claims that Melania Trump and Donald Trump are talking to him directly, and it's ridiculous. But all these people, it was the same with Field McConnell, Timothy Homseth. Money. They need money for them to do their thing. That's a big difference. Big difference. There's a big difference between supporting someone's work and then straight up charging, or else you're not getting anything. There's a Randy Q Erickson on Facebook, and she's someone that I've been kind of inching closer towards. looking into a bit more, because it looks, according to her own claims, she's actually been funding a lot of this stuff, and we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars to Field McConnell and Timothy Homeseth, or at least Timothy Homeseth. It seems like Timothy Homeseth is more her guy. But she did offer to give Field McConnell, what was it, like a $65,000 loan with no interest or anything to save his house. So it's there's some money in this. There's some big money in this. No bullshit at all. But that is why we do these, and we basically hope that we can stop somebody from listening to these psychopaths. Which people have messaged me and they have said that they have. We have stopped families from going with these idiots. So that's good. That means that we accomplished our mission. If just one family was like, hold on, everything you're saying sounds like bullshit, then
we're all working together for a fraudulent charity. I don't know anything about that. I deal with these people all the time. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but they should never be paid. To do a good deed. They are both young and can work and do this part-time out of the goodness of their hearts. Well, maybe we're not as young as you think we are, and we are doing this out of the goodness of our hearts, and we put a lot of part-time hours into what we're doing here, and sometimes it's not so part-time. And if you say money, money, money is always a big red flag. If you call $50 a month for what we do here, money, 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 and you want to raise a big flag, let me bring that up. You should start raising a big flag about the QAnon movement and how many of the truthers embraced the QAnon movement because they've gained. I know one channel that went from 150,000 subscribers to 650 plus thousand subscribers. How much money are those channels getting? How much did the QAnon movement get? I never got onto that bandwagon.
That's actually true. I will agree with that. A lot of people threw their fucking morals and integrity straight to the side when QAnon was opened up to the public and all these conspiracy theories. And now they are catering to that crowd, and they cater to that crowd for donations, for views, and at the end of the day, money. So they're are looking past some of their integrity, and some of these more easily debunked, because let's face it, I don't hate Q with a passion or anything, but holy shit, QAnon has put out a lot of misinformation and still not delivered on a lot of things. One of the easiest ones to debunk is all of these indictments. All that the indictment claim that there's hundreds of thousands of indictments that QAnon's claimed forever and all the Democrats are being arrested. It doesn't exist. What it is they're reading Pacer wrong. Like, all the files that they think are indictments are not all indictments. Some of them could be speeding tickets. Like, that's just how the Pacer system works. So it's easily debunked, a lot of that shit. There's been a few times, though, QAnon's done something, and they've been pretty close to right. You know, it's at least caught my attention and be like, all right, well, that was okay. But that's also, you're getting now a large group of people, and somebody is probably going to know what they're talking about out of this large group of people. So at some point, they're bound to produce correct information, but that doesn't neglect the fact that the other 80% of the information that came out of it was bullshit. And not to mention QAnon, I still think QAnon was a good troll that got taken too far. It originates back to 8chan. People that don't know what 8chan is, it's basically 8chan was created for the people that are not even accepted by 4chan. 4chan obviously a lot of the time holds just the underbelly filth of the internet. And then what happened was they were actually, I believe if I remember correct, they were attacking these gamer girls, and 4chan was even like, no, you're going too far. And so these guys broke off and made 8chan, where they could basically do whatever the fuck they wanted. They were open to white supremacy, conspiracies, anything. The scum underneath the scum of the internet is 8chan. And so QAnon actually originated from 8chan. So right there, just the origin of where the place came from. You're talking about the lowest of the low of online users. So that already should put up some red flags about the credibility of this person, if it isn't just a huge troll, especially seeing that so many things have not come to fruition that the group has claimed. But whatever.
It didn't sit right with me, and I can't do things against my conscience. If I feel like something doesn't sit right with me, I don't take the money and run. I don't take advantage of people's heartstring, their emotions. So if you want to go against people with the money intent, you go against that movement. The sovereign citizen movement is listed on the FBI's list of domestic terrorist groups because of people like Phil McConnell and Timothy Homestead. Let's just stop right there and let's talk about domestic terrorists. The QAnon conspiracy theory creeps into mainstream politics. Moving on to the article. What's different, talking about the QAnon movement, what's different now is that there are people in power who are spreading this conspiracy theory. She adding that Trump's conspiracy-minded rhetoric seems to fire up part of his base. Finally, there is someone saying they're not crazy. Goes on to say, conspiracy theories are nothing new, but experts fear the powerful engine of social media and volatile political climate have ramped up the threat of violence. An FBI bulletin in May warned that conspiracy theory-driven extremists have become a domestic terrorism threat. The bulletin specifically mentions QAnon. If I'm reading this right, Trump's conspiracy-minded rhetoric seems to fire up part of his base. Are they calling the President of the United States a domestic terrorist? I don't know any other way to read that.
Okay, well, no, you're not reading it right. And just to give an example of what they're actually talking about there, the Trump administration, whether you're for Trump or not, it's had some pretty bad times. We've had some really bad times with the Trump administration. Trump has openly spouted out these conspiracies that a lot of them are very deep in the heart of QAnon. Now, QAnon and Sovereign are two different on the whole domestic terrorist list. But just right here, real quick, this is an article from the AP, and it was just one of the times that Trump brought up some of these debunked QAnon online conspiracy things. So, yes, the Trump administration 100% has helped to give this QAnon, these different conspiracy theorists, a certain sense of freedom to go just really push their nonsense. The heart of QAnon is literally based around Trump saving the world from satanic child-killing baby killers, that he was brought in by the military to save the country and all this other crazy shit. But it was last May that the FBI did declare QAnon as potential domestic terrorists, which again, that's why I was watching the Cynthia Absig case, just because it's the first time since they've been declared domestic terrorists that kind of court cases happen where they're trying to include that group. But sovereign citizens is a way longer one, and that's stuff that we'll go over tonight. But it was 2010 and 2011 the FBI released information on the sovereign citizen movement and the potential dangers. And the real reason, and I'll even correct Divine Interlooper on this one, the reason why they are considered domestic terrorists actually is Field McConnell's pretty close because of the threats and whatnot. But in reality, there's a lot more serious people. You're talking about the Canes, the father and son that killed 2 cops, Timothy McVeigh, Terry Nichols, his partner in it, and then Terry Nichols' brothers. They were strong sovereign citizens, devout sovereign citizens. Timothy McVeigh, if you don't know who that is by any chance, that of course is who did the Oklahoma City bombing, which is one of the largest domestic terrorist attacks on American soil, like in the history of the country. So that was sovereign citizen fueled. Terry Nichols, the guy that they were building bombs with, that was teaching all this crazy shit, him and his brother were both white supremacists, and they were sovereign citizens. Waco, which I've never agreed with what happened with Waco, but the Davidites and Ruby Ridge, all of them, you're talking about different sovereign groups that grew into these things that got very out of control very, very quickly. But some of them have been extremely dangerous. There was even some of the stuff we'll go over tonight, like there was a sovereign couple that went into a CC's Pizza and shot 2 cops in the CC's Pizza, and then draped a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, a Nazi flag over them, and put a note that said, "This is the start of the revolution." The reason why sovereigns are domestic terrorists is because they've done some very, very serious things. And not to mention, the group actually goes back to 1971, it turns out, with the teachings of Gale and Posse Comitatus. It was actually originally a white supremacy group. So it's kind of funny that people like David Jose and whatnot are now signing up to be sovereign citizens and signing their rights away, because in 1971, they were a racist organization. Like 100% racist. They were against Jewish people, they were against African Americans, and they were more about the Constitution and basically a misinterpretation of the 14th Amendment, where they think that the start of the 14th Amendment is a contract between the federal government and the people. But again, that stuff that we'll get into later tonight on this live, that's actually about sovereigns. Like, we're going to break down the full sovereign movement and a lot of years of the history of it. It should be interesting.
Certainly, they are calling anybody that is in the QAnon movement, and folks, basically the QAnon movement is a supposed patriot movement. You know, the patriots that want to go back to a constitutional republic, the Constitution, your rights, the First and Second Amendment. All of those people are now in a basket of domestic terrorism. I've been saying it for a long time. They're taking names, folks. The QAnon thing, they're taking names. So she goes on to say, again, the sovereign citizen movement is listed on the FBI's list of domestic terrorist groups because of people like Phil McConnell and Timothy Homestead. And, ma'am, I'm going to tell you, there's a very good chance if you're a Christian and if you're into this QAnon movement at all, you're on that list in that bucket of domestic terrorist. My niece is a caseworker for CPS here in Texas, and they are working hard to make the system better. She knows there are abuses, but there are good and bad in everything in life. There are some pretty serious speculation and evidence that many of these do-gooders claiming to be Christians, so there she goes claiming to be Christians, so now she can, she's pretty much ascertaining who's Christian and who is not, and working.
I think what she was actually saying is these scam artists that are hiding behind a cross are probably not practicing true Christianity. It's a pretty well-known fact that a lot of the time some of the dirtiest shit that goes on in this world is done behind a cross, because if you throw a cross in front of it, all of a sudden you're on God's mission. And if you'll notice, Fran, David, Field, all of them that were pushing these fictional organizations and doing this sovereign law and these fictional laws, notice they go back to God. It's always about God. We're doing God's work. We're following God's laws. And that is basically the fail-safe of a sovereign. Once everything else is disproved, once legally they're disproved, once educationally they're disproved, once there is no more ground to stand on, that's when they go ahead and say we're doing God's work, because that's all they have left. Obviously, claiming that you're doing God's work is something that cannot be proven or disproven. Like, that's why it's such a great thing. That's why religion is such a great shield for a lot of these different frauds. You can't just prove that God's not talking to someone. So it's kind of a bullshit cop-out to throw that Christianity thing. But I'm not a Christian myself, but I would imagine from my Christian upbringing that using God to scam parents that are involved in open CPS cases out of money probably is not something that Jesus or God or any real influential people in the Christian movement would actually condone. So I think that's really where that was more tied to, but maybe I'm wrong.
For the children are themselves using these mothers and children in human trafficking rings themselves. Okay, well, she says here, I'm not saying that these people are doing that, but others are. I don't agree that they are credible journalists as long as they bring frauds on their channel. I'm not trying to get any views on my channel, but I have posted a lot of information there the last week that you might be interested in. Divine Interloper, be blessed. This will probably be removed, but just remember, anyone who will not be questioned is suspect. Yes, that comment was removed from that video because I think it undermined the importance of that video. So I removed it. But now you got a whole video for yourself. So, no, we are not hiding from anything. You know, the First Amendment, folks, here. So you're saying that as long as they bring on frauds on their channel, we don't know who is a fraud, who is not. What we do know is that we bring people onto our channel to tell their story.
Maybe research someone before you bring them on your channel to tell their story. It's pretty easy to find out if someone's a fraud or not.
And then we let people decide, we let the listeners decide whether the story has teeth or not. A lot of people have called these people out. I don't delete those comments. A story like Cheryl Hersha, that really touched a lot of people.
That's not true at all. Even in that clip with David Jose, you can see both of them are smiling and nodding in agreement. They're not just letting the audience decide. Not only are they letting these lunatics and these frauds and these scam artists use their channel to put out their message, they're giving a message of validation by not questioning them when they're on there. Which, by the way, if any of the Victurus Libertas guys want to come on here, you're more than welcome to. David Jose, you know you are. I have a lot of questions for a lot of people involved in this stuff, and nobody seems to want to answer any of them. David Jose has blocked me everywhere that he can. Anytime that he even sees me, he just runs off. Same as Francesca Amato. None of these people seem to want to be in any sort of real-time questioning situation. They like to make their comments, and then they even block people who comment negatively back to them. So up in the description, there's a link to my Facebook page, and the YouTube channel doesn't really help, but if you're one of these people that you feel like you want to come on here and you want to explain something, be my guest. You can go to the Facebook page, you can message that page, and we will work it out, and you can come on here and you can explain, just explain whatever. David Jose, there's a long list of things for you to explain, a very long list. Francesca, same thing. And then Victurus Liberatus, that's up to you. It's definitely 30,000 subscribers and just letting anybody go on without any sort of back checking, any kind of fact checking, any kind of fraud checking is not smart at all. No matter what the intentions of your channel is, no matter what the intentions of your career with this is. If you're, laying them on is one thing, but then sitting there and just smiling and agreeing and giving this validation to all your subscribers is not productive at all. Your channel might have helped them find the next person they scammed.
I believe it helped a lot of people that went through similar experiences in their life. But we've refused to have guests on because after doing some research, their stories just didn't check out. But for me to not put a story up because somebody doesn't agree with it, or it doesn't fit the mainstream narrative, is kind of scary. To not give somebody the other side. Like this mother here, Melody Bannister. The only side that the mainstream media is giving right now is the side of the father. They're not giving any credence to what the children have told the mother. And if we are told by authorities what is true and what is not true, and we don't have the ability to see the other side of the story because it is censored or removed or we're told to shut up, then we have a lot of problems, folks. Truly an Orwellian world we're living in, if that is the case. So I want.
Okay, negative comment on your YouTube channel is pretty far from an Orwellian existence, but whatever. You can go with that. But again, there's like the deflection I was talking about. There's this big thing that he just went into about not hearing the other side of the story, all this other shit, which it's garbage and actually has nothing to do with the comment. The comment saying, hey, you're letting frauds on your channel to talk to your 30,000 subscribers. You shouldn't do that because it hurts your credibility. And this guy's talking about how there's two sides to every story. With some, again, like some of these, there's not two sides to a story. They're frauds. They're con men. And it's very easy to find that information pretty fucking quick. So it's the only two sides of the story should be questioning some of the stuff that they're pushing parents on. What David Jose should be questioned on is signing away, is joining a sovereign group, a sovereign movement. Which, I mean, again, it's literally right there. Like you can find that stuff on Google. I think that really about does it. I don't think there's much more on that video that I even really care to talk about. They just kind of ended with some other stuff. But if the Victurus Libertas guys end up seeing this, I think that was the overall message is don't just give frauds open access to your channel. Then don't sit there and agree with them while they're on it. Because these guys are going out into the real world and pushing sovereign, nonsensical, domestic terrorist legal practices on desperate parents. And some of these parents are actually following through with this. Arlena Willis, one of the longest cases that we followed with this whole mess. There's over 30 documents that show why she was required to get a mandated mental health evaluation and why now she's in jail for not going to it. I mean, these people literally fucked Arlena Willis's life up. I think she had some mental issues. She definitely had some things going on. But ever since the teachings of David Straight, David Jose, Francesca Amato, which goes right back to Field McConnell and Timothy Homeseth and all of them, because David Straight, Field McConnell, and Charles Homeseth are all three little peas in a pod. That's when things really got bad for her. She's going to most likely spend a lot of time in jail, depending on what happens with her being found mentally fit or not. But even in one of the court documents that she turned in, she declared that she was not lost at sea, like the ocean. She literally wrote in a court document related to her child being removed from her custody that she was not lost at sea. That should be enough to show some of the problems that comes with this. It's garbage. It is. It actually, yeah. What Brian just said is word salads with a side of trash. That is literally what it is. And yeah, Beth, that is serious. I'm not even kidding. Like literally word for word, Arlena wrote, I declare I am not lost at sea. Another thing that she declared in her court papers were that she was not dead, which one would think that you didn't need to actually write that into a court document to prove that you're not dead. God, there was a whole list of crazy stuff that Arlena put in her court documents, and it was literally because of the teachings of these frauds that some of these other channels and pages and people are pushing. Ann Vandersteel is just horrid. That woman's a nightmare. I really want to go a little bit more into her in the near future. And she fucking ditched on Field. She had an interview or two with Field, and she 100% wiped those from Steel Truth, I think is their YouTube channel. But yeah, she wiped that when all this Field stuff started coming out. And it was in there because one thing, like, I actually started to address Ann Vandersteel and Field McConnell because they did this crazy ass fucking live, a crazy live. And this was in this article from October 2019. I put this article together. The interview was still up there, but this is where it is now. And it says in the article, just days ago, Vandersteel and McConnell did an interview riddled with conspiracies and nonsense claims on the Steel Truth YouTube channel. But then again, when things really start going downhill, that's when Ann Vandersteel went ahead and just deleted that video, and now appears to be kind of playing the, oh, well, yeah, I don't know who Field McConnell is, but yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, Ann. And you 100% thought what he was saying was great. And here's even Field McConnell. Here's past court filings from Field McConnell. This is in 2007. So this goes back with that Victurus Libertas channel saying that they haven't talked to Field in a few years, and that, some people claiming Field used to do good stuff until last year when he lost his mind. This is 2007, and this is a court document that he filed. So that's where I'm not seeing it with Field McConnell. I'm not seeing when he was actively exposing good things and like making some strong changes, because he hasn't understood how to file court documents since 2007. This was a frivolous wrongful death suit that was thrown out. This is another one from 2007 against the Boeing Company and Airline Pilots Association. I believe this one was thrown out as well fairly quickly. I don't know, maybe he just didn't have access to a computer or a typewriter in 2007, so he decided to write all that out. But it's ridiculous. To ever even say that Field McConnell, I don't even know. One fun thing with Ann Vandersteel, though, is that she was actually denounced by the Trump administration because she was claiming to have parts with the Trump administration for so long, blah, 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 and just openly claiming, and they actually had to come out and say that Ann Vandersteel has nothing to do with the Trump 2020 campaign or the Trump administration or anything. That's what it was. It was actually the Trump campaign, the Trump 2020 campaign. So Ann Vandersteel basically pushed her nonsense enough that Trump's campaign team had to come out and say, we don't know her. Like, she's not a part of this. Some people point out it was questionable, like how long it took them to actually come out and say that, but that did happen. And her YouTube channel has just been a dumpster fire to all of her followers. Another one that will just let anybody on, especially if they got any kind of following, and if they appeal to that conspiracy side. The conspiracy kiddos have been pushed in the shadows for so long that this is a new age for them. And the internet is helping. That's also with the sovereign movement. Like, since the early 2000s, the sovereigns have kind of moved to online-based scams and legal remedies. So that just is what it is. Some of you channels out there that have these large followings, just do your due diligence. Look into someone before you let them speak to your audience. And if they're going to come on and they're going to talk to your audience, question what they're saying. Don't just agree with everything. David Jose is one person in specific that he needs to be questioned, not agreed with. The dude is involved in some really weird scams. Yeah, I wonder if I can even find it real quick. Yeah, before ending this, let's even... This is the YouTube channel for David Jose. Let's look through David's YouTube channel. We'll go back just a little bit. Famous business coach tells if MCA, Motor Club of America, a scam. Which Motor Club of America, if you Google that, it actually has been called a scam over and over by a lot of credible sources. We were getting ready to slang some money. Super cash. Turn up. Coach David reveals his secret of all of his success. Dr. Andrew, the stack master, for the third day in a row, getting cashed grizzly. This guy is a fucking door-to-door scam salesman. Like, I don't know how anybody would trust this guy with getting their children home. Third time today, Andrew getting more cash, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What the fuck are you? Are you a family advocate or are you a door-to-door salesman? But you can see, though, like, just in his history of just how it changes. Every couple years, he picks up some new scam. Learning the psychology of income with Coach Dave. God, he looks like shit in that one. 333 Project Guides can change your life. Why you should sell us your used undiabetic test strips. You know what? That one's 40 seconds long. Let's find out why we should sell Dave Jose our unused diabetic test strips. Why not?
One would ask, what's the only thing faster than a 68 Dodge Charger? It's us buying your diabetic test strips. Dave speaking.
The fuck?
All right, I'm on my way.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Okay. Do you want to be a real estate monster? Real estate coaches teaching criticism, not real estate. Yeah, this guy has even pushed that you can sell real estate without a license and all this other shit. Like, for real, and any parents that might see this, if you're thinking about taking legal advice from this guy, his YouTube channel is Dave Cares For You. Just go look it up. For making all these thousands and thousands of dollars, I'm not really sure why he's even needing to ask for any sort of donations to do his work these days, because this goes back years. This is 6 years ago. We're at now. Private money ain't private anymore. Cat's out of the bag. Real estate coaches want to fight, but not really. Video part 1, freedom for free. Big success, back to the park. Please excuse trim. Real estate guys, do you give thanks for what seems little? This one's 59 seconds. Fuck it, let's watch it. Oh, why is
Found a guy in a... Hey, so this is Dave. I just told y'all that I found a guy in a restaurant. I put it on a video that is a big time wholesaler in Arizona, pretty much the biggest now. And it's funny because I'm on the phone with Carlos, one of my guys, one of the students that got a buyer for $5,000. So things are awesome. And it's funny because I was just walking in, I picked up a penny a second ago. And usually I pick up pennies or coins and stuff like that because I feel like if God has left something for me and I was able to get anything, I'm thankful for whatever it is. But what's funny is this. I'm walking outside of the bank, so we're over here at Chase, and look what I find on the ground. Hold on, let me get this ready for you. Hold on. Look at that. Just finding money. So you're going to go ahead and take that. Thank you, Lord. See, look at that. Look, money just flows into my hands. Look, that's some killer stuff. But, all right, y'all. I just had to go shoot that video. Throw that out there.
Fuck. Okay, so money just floats into his hand. Man, yeah, this is ridiculous. Do deals like us. You are powerful and created by a powerful God. When the devil teaches real estate. Jesus Christ. New product. This is 9 years ago. So yeah, this YouTube channel goes back 9 years. And he literally just jumps from scam to scam. From get rich quick plan to get rich quick. If you'll notice now all of a sudden, just in the last, well actually let's even see 2 years ago. Okay. Double money quick in medical commodities. That's 3 years ago. Then 2 years ago, DCS worker withholding evidence to take family's little ones. So this guy literally jumped from pushing this fraudulent thing, which here, let's even see. Motor Club of America. Motor Club of America scam. I've looked into this one time because of a bunch of the shit I've seen. Let's go to the BBB. Let's see if there's any reviews there. 21 complaints with Motor Club of America. I was involved in an accident this morning. I called to set up a tow. Was advised that I didn't need to be present for the tow, that they could do it unattended, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I don't really know. 21 complaints, though, isn't all that great. And that's even if we have the right thing. God only knows what the hell David is pushing. It does look like that there's been possibly some money put towards affecting the search results. Oh, here we go. MCA is a great opportunity for people that are looking to make some extra money, but like any business opportunity, you need to be willing to spend money in order to make things happen. Most people try to promote the lifestyle, and actually that was sadly how I started after making $32,000 in 2017. Okay, so right there, that's like somebody most likely affiliated with the company, and it's never good when you hear that you got to spend that money to make the money, guys. But yeah, there's been other ones too. You can look into David for yourself. Again, his YouTube channel is Dave Cares For You. And it really is. It's just scam after scam. Real estate deals with no cash, credit, or license. 7 minutes. No, we're not going to watch that whole thing, but we'll play just a second of this. I'm curious.
Hello. My name is David Jose, and I want to talk to you a little bit about making money in real estate with no license, no credit. You won't have to use any of your cash. I've been here working on one of my hot rods in one of my buddy's garages, and I get to enjoy my time usually the way that I want to. Now, what I want to talk to you about is looking at real estate in a different way. So, first of all, when it comes to me, myself, I've been doing real estate since 2001. I've been able to do tons of real estate deals with lots of investors. For many of you who read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, we see Kiyosaki talk about his rich dad. It's really 7 people, but one of them in particular actually
Remind you, in 2017, this is how David Jose wrote. So I don't know how I feel about his being in real estate since 2001.
took part in the deals that Kiyosaki did. So when you look at the cash flow game and these different investor games that people play, the gentleman who was the rich dad, I actually partnered with him to move his properties. He had 200 properties around the United States. So when it comes to understanding how real estate works, I've been doing it for a long time. I work with some of the best, and that allows me to be able to get a certain understanding of how real estate works that most people will never, ever, ever see.
Now, remind you, this is October 12th, 2019. So he's already been a child advocate at that point. And then also remember, he's already signed away his rights to become a sovereign citizen at this point, which his whole thing with no licenses, again, we'll go over the sovereign movement tonight. Tonight's live is going to be really long about the sovereign movement. It'll teach you guys damn near everything there is to know about it. But one of the biggest things is no licenses, no federal government, all this other shit. So chances are, if you're doing some of these other make some money fast schemes with David Jose, you're probably breaking the law on several different levels, just depending on which one of his scams you take a part of, because constantly he has some other way to get rich fast or to solve all your legal problems. So chances are you probably don't want to go start selling real estate without any kind of license with David Jose tomorrow. Maybe explore, like, see if Walmart's hiring. Might be a little bit better. Pay might not be as good, but you also won't go to jail for any weird whatever financial crimes he's trying to commit there. Overall, though, I think that does it. Again, the any of these channels that are just giving people open reign, like, don't do that. At least look up who's on there. You got a lot of people following your channels. You got a lot of people following your pages. It's actually your responsibility to make sure that you're not putting terrible people out there just so that you can get views and appeal to a conspiracy crowd, because you don't have any sort of actual care or knowledge to. I don't even know why you do it, aside from gain some views and whatnot. I don't know why these people are catering to some of these different crowds. David Jose, sovereign citizen, again, that's his shit. That's him signing away his stuff and signing up with the Reigns of Heavens group. That's literally what they are. Listening to him legally is not going to get you arrested tomorrow, most likely, unless you really push it in one of the states that will arrest you. Like Florida is pretty sick of people's shit. Or pretty sick of the sovereign shit, so you will get arrested there for paper terrorism and whatnot. It's one of the states that actually is being pretty proactive against sovereign citizens, just because it's had so many issues with them over the past. David is a sovereign. David doesn't know how to write. And then just once again to clear up an old claim of his that nobody's supposed to click on the website, because again, there is a description that goes into a little bit more detail. There's a link in that description. It goes to my site, which again, you can check for yourself. You can check out the authenticity of global site safety, trendmicro.com. Feel free. You can go use your own site to test it if you want. This is my website. You're not getting your information stolen. Again, this is my website's analytics. I don't have anything to store 668,000 people's information. I honestly, I don't even know how, like, that's crazy. So I'm sure David will say something and Fran will say something, and they'll say it into their cell phone from their car that doesn't run, or from a garage, or whatever weird place that he's live streaming from, because he's so successful and credible that he can't even make an office area and do a stream outside of his cell phone. But I'm sure he'll say something once again without any evidence whatsoever, like that I'm stealing everybody's information that goes to my website. Not true. He just doesn't want you to see the truth about him, and he's trying to scam you. That's all that is. So I'm going to finish this Sovereign article, though, and get some things ready for this live tonight. So that will probably be in some hours, maybe like around 11, hopefully midnight at the latest. I've been trying to do some of this stuff earlier. So in a perfect world, it would actually be like around 10. But for anybody that's been following like the Fran and David and all of them craziness, and you still got some questions on sovereigns, that would be a live to watch. And this will really go into detail of how these guys got to the point that they are now. And maybe we'll even do call-ins then. I do have everything set up now to do call-ins, by the way. I asked on one of those last lives, and I went ahead and purchased some stuff to be able to do it. And so I have everything set up now to do live calls. I got the phone number set up. I got all of that. So when I ask and you guys answer, I do listen, just so you know. So that is something that we're going to be doing now. We're going to be incorporating. So I think maybe tonight will be the first time that we do the live call-in thing. Maybe there'll be a few sovereigns out there. And hey, that's another thing too. Fran, David, all of you, you can call in now and you'll be on. Then you don't have to sit there and look like an asshole on video. You can actually just be called. But yeah, that's actually, Krabby, that's a pretty good title actually. How to get your butt thrown in jail. That's actually pretty spot on. Nick, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I do have some of the Sovereign videos as well that we'll play to even back up. And I mean, it's literally the same arguments on the stream tonight. You can see them using these arguments in different court cases with different police officers. And I mean, it's like I said, I normally try and keep my articles shorter, but I did want to have one source of information, not just for the public, but for myself. It makes it easy on me if I've done an article in the past that I can use for a reference as a backlink in a site or in another article or just on different videos. If I can have that one link right there that I can throw out instead of having to round up 6 different links. I'd prefer to have done this in like a multi-series thing, but it'll just be easier. It's more functional if I just do this one super long thing and get it done with. So Facebook, YouTube, both of the links to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff is up there in the description. I imagine David Jose would say the coronavirus is nothing. That really doesn't surprise me on any level whatsoever. I'm surprised that David Jose is not selling a cure for the coronavirus yet, honestly. That's the surprising part. Not the fact that he doesn't understand the coronavirus, because I can guarantee you David Jose does not understand the coronavirus on any level whatsoever, but the fact that he's not selling the cure is what's more surprising. Oh, Nick, I would love to hear the debate between us two, but they won't attend a debate. So, one last time before I end this, any of you, David Jose, Francesca Amato, well, I guess not Field McConnell, he's in jail, Timothy Homeseth, Sarah Dunklin, Kirk Pendergrass, we've done an interview before, you can come back on. Chris Hallett, I know that I haven't played with you two a whole lot, but we will. We'll get to you. Any of you guys, you're welcome to come on here, or if you want me to come on your platform, whatever. If that's how it's got to be, I prefer to just do it through mine, but if not, it's whatever. So any of you, you're more than welcome to come on. David Jose, you are welcome to come on and expose me to my own audience. since you have all this evidence and you know that I'm a troll working for CPS and the government and all this shit, I think the best place to expose me would be to my audience. So you're more than welcome to come on and expose me to my audience anytime. Again, you can just message the Facebook page. A 30-minute heads up notice. I'm not even gonna lie, Gray Moon, I will forget. So about the best that I can do is say somewhere between 10 p.m. and midnight tonight. We're gonna do this live on this sovereign thing. It depends on how long it takes me to actually set this live up, because there is going to be a bunch of videos and documents, and I still have to decide how to actually go through it. Like, maybe we'll just scroll the article and hop off as then. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah, sometime between 10 p.m. and midnight, hopefully 10 p.m. But looking at the time now, I'm going to say good chance of midnight. Probably leaning towards later. What time zone am I in? I'm in Kansas. It is 5:44 p.m. here right now. Actually, maybe we can do it before midnight. Another thing I'm going to do too, though, on the YouTube channel is make a sovereign playlist for you guys. So I don't know if I'll have that ready by tonight, but I am going to go through and I'll pick out some of my favorite court moments with sovereigns, police moments with sovereigns, and I'll upload all those into a nice little sovereign playlist for you guys, which I'll just make it easier to share out and then be able to show, like, no, this guy actually tried that argument there and he got tased in the middle of court. So Randy and the Watchmen, yeah, that definitely is I don't know. Randy was on here earlier. I believe I saw him commenting. No, they normally go much earlier. So I don't know if they're doing one tonight. But Randy is in the comments, or was in the comments. I don't know. I don't know where he went. But Linda, there's a good chance that, yes, that will happen first. So yeah, if you come back later tonight for this live, not only will we learn completely about the sovereign movement, but I will also show you where, like, I mean, it's crazy. If you've been following these people, it is really crazy when you just watch, like, how it applies to each different one. Just reading the different parts, and it's like, that's 100% what Kirk Pendergrass is doing, or that's 100% what David's doing, that's 100% what Fran's doing. It's fucking crazy. Like, all these sovereigns, for not being one group, it's crazy how much they all follow the same practices and have the same MOs, which that's really the big thing with the sovereign movement. There is no group. It's not like you're battling the Crips or the Bloods and, you know, there's this one gang. It's not one entity at all. It's just thousands upon thousands of small groups, all of them with their own little twists that just follow the same basic, but they all have their own little twists. It's complicated and it's frustrating. It definitely gives you a headache trying to keep up with all of them. So that's what I'm doing for you guys, though, is I'm taking on that headache and frustration so that you guys can know these people are idiots and don't listen to them, because they will get you into trouble. So I'll see you guys in some hours, and anybody that does want to contact, again, go through the Facebook page, message that page, and we can try and work something out for you to come on and clear